Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Skills at Work Ideas Lab. My name is Jay Varkey. I'm the Group Executive Director of GEMS Education, and thank you for being with us today. The structure today will be similar to a TED Talk, so each one of the panelists will be giving their presentation. It should last about 15 to 20 minutes. There won't be any Q&A after each presentation, but if you have some time towards the end, we'll put the questions out to you. But other than that, let's just try and get going as soon as possible. Just some quick stats, specifically on youth unemployment. Young people aged 15 to 24 are now 3 times more likely than adults to be unemployed. In some regions, notably the Middle East and North Africa, more than 26% of young people could not find jobs in 2011. One of the specific questions that our panelists will be addressing today is what research and models help young people acquire new skills even later in life. So let's get started with our first presenter, Mrs. Winnie Imanyara. Winnie is the Executive Director of Housing Finance Foundation, whose theme is to create an army of 1 million artisans for Kenya and the region. Prior to this role, she served as a Director of Change and Strategy at Housing Finance and Director of Change and Leadership at Equity Bank. She serves on several boards both in Kenya and overseas. Winnie is a Kenyan torchbearer of the United Nations Millennium Development Goal, number 3, on promoting gender equity and empowering women. She holds a Head of State commendation for her work on women empowerment. Winnie, over to you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to see you this afternoon. I'm going to do this in way of a presentation, but before I get to my presentation, I'd like to just take you into a small story of the lives of what our facilitator has described. The young people, very young in age chronologically, but very old in trying and strive and struggle. This is not just found in Kenya, my country. It's not found in Africa, my continent, but it's found globally. And therefore, I'm going to take you through a journey of the invisible workforce. These are people me and you may see sitting out in the corridors, in the streets, and their job description is a tap. Their job description is maybe a paintbrush. Their job description, as you can see there, is those apparatus that they carry. Some of them, of course, are borrowed, and others are passed down. They do not have a skill, probably not out of choice, but indeed, they are the majority. How did this one then come, and how are we going to solve this problem? They are young, as I said, chronologically, age-wise, but they are very old in trying and striving. Housing Finance Foundation in Kenya, in partnership with GEMS Skills Africa, what we find is those 2 triangles. The first triangle there is a historical one. I'm sure in your country and my country is a past English colony, Kenya, and therefore we wanted, the demand was for white-collar jobs, office jobs. And everybody went to school. Everybody went to university, or majority of us. It was the thing to do. And we created the first triangle that you see there. Managers are very few, or executives at the top. At the bottom, we have a few supervisors. That's normal, I'm sure, where you come from, even in schools, any organization. And the majority sit at the bottom of the pyramid, or so we call it. And those are the workers. We refer to them as the workers. And life is normal when things are that way. However, it's not in the construction sector especially. We are supposed to have 1 engineer on top there, to 4 technicians or supervisors, to 16 skilled artisans. Now we don't have. The triangle on the right is what we have. Where you come from and where I come from. It's all over, including here in Dubai. It is, lots of people went to the university. Higher education is funded than any other education. And therefore, we've got 16 engineers to 4 qualified technicians to one skilled artisan, one. And if I refer you a little bit back, those are the people I refer to, the invisible workforce. And a few interviews with them, a few research times with them says, in their own words, quotable quotes, we have been forgotten. Now, why do we think of insecurities then? Why do we think of strife and all the other things you can think about? It's because those triangles have to be what they're supposed to be. In other words, you and me, our partners, especially GEMS, we are trying to help change or invert those triangles. That triangle, this side, to be like that one. But it's not easy. It's not one day. It's not 2 days. It's not one partner. You've got to be many of you. And that's why we came up with the theme, creating an army of 1 million artisans. And that's a figure of speech. That's a figure of speech. 3 words describing an idea. When you hear an army, what do you hear? In Kenya, in Pakistan, in Nepal, in anywhere, Nigeria, where you come from, an army means force. It means focus. It means discipline. It means togetherness. And that, the picture that's created, that's a mental picture in your mind because you know what it is. And then 1 million, what is it? It's not just a number. It means many. It means a lot. It means so many of us. And therefore, an army of 1 million artisans, ladies and gentlemen, is an innovative idea not just for Kenya, not just for Africa, but for the world in as far as skills are concerned. We need all of us to invert that triangle yet again and make it what it's supposed to be, and it can only be through scaling and responding. So yes, indeed, this is why Housing Finance Foundation is a direct response to the problems that are happening. So the problems that are happening because of these triangles are, you're going to find buildings and construction sites are not being completed on time because we don't have the artisans, we don't have the scale, and so on. And you know the other evils, even money. A lot of money is spent on labor. In fact, data says 36% of our expenditure in construction and building is on labor alone, not materials and other things. So we came to that, this challenge, together with GEMS then coming together to say, the people in this room who are educators, we need to bridge. We need to create that bridge and a stronger bridge, bridging or linking industry, academia to industry. Yes, we have trained them. After training them and giving them certificates, what else can we do? Give them a job, connect them, introduce them, mentor them, internship them, attach them, connecting or linking industry to academia. Right now, that bridge is broken. And I'm so sure our facilitator, after this meeting, then there's a meeting of minds that should come together and say, you academicians, how are you training for the industry? I come from industry. We lend money to the contractors. But the universities and the technical schools had not spoken to us until this time when it became necessary. So we need to link them because guess what? With hands that think, we can build a future. Those people, the invisible workforce, should not be forgotten. As they say, they're being forgotten. They should not be invisible anymore. We should invert that triangle. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, then out of that challenge, what have we done? Together with GEMS, we've introduced a model. It's called TVET on Wheels. TVET is Technical Vocational Education and Training on Wheels, taking skills to the people. Remember, these are mature people. They are not near the institutions. And if they are, they don't have the money to pay. And if they are, they don't even have the time. And if they are, they cannot substitute their day work to go to school, and what will they take home? Because most of them are in the family way. So we designed TVET on Wheels. We come to a live site, and we construct a classroom like this, temporary one. And the person is working on site 70% of the time, and comes to class from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 30% of the time. After 3 weeks, this is based on competency-based curriculum. After 3 weeks, a curriculum from India, then the person gets a certificate because they already have some experience. They've got a little knowledge, but they are not polished enough. And of course, we include in class the 21st century readiness, which is communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Those 4 C's, we call them. For everything, to them we talk in numbers and we make it simple. So ladies and gentlemen, what we've done is removing the 3D jobs. 3Ds are dirty, difficult, and dangerous, to make them 3Es, which is effective, employable, and entrepreneurial. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Winnie. Very interesting how you illustrated the 3Ds and the 3Es. That was quite unique. We're moving next on to Ms. Kirsty McKay. In March 2013, Kirsty created and launched Life Skills, created with Barclays. Life Skills was launched to bring together teachers, businesses, young people, and others to make a significant impact to the challenge of youth unemployment in the UK. The Life Skills program helps give young people the skills they need to move from education to work. It consists of free curriculum-linked resources and workshops for schools, colleges, and other education institutions, as well as online content for young people to access outside of the classroom. The program also offers work experience, opportunities at Barclays and other companies, and advice for businesses on how to take on an apprentice or trainee. Kirsty, please.
Thank you. So many of the issues that Winnie's talked about we have in the UK as well. So as Jay said, I'm Kirsty Mackey and I run a program at Barclays called Life Skills. And really, I want to talk to you about the role of an employer, the role of a business in helping to tackle this issue. And from my perspective, I want to talk to you about a young man who I met called Mohammed. He was 16, he lived in Bradford, in the north of England, and although academically he was excelling. Can you still hear me? Shall I carry on? Yeah. Brilliant. So although academically he was excelling, actually he was very underconfident. He had no idea his future career path, and he really wanted to think about could he go into an investment bank. But he decided living in Bradford, that was beyond his dreams. He was never going to be able to do that. So in his own words, Mohammed said to me, I was the type of person where in an English lesson I didn't dare put up my hand or read a couple of lines, or because I always feared what people would think of me and I didn't ever want to speak out. And Mohammed sadly represents thousands, hundreds of thousands of young people in the UK who do not have the skills and experience to enter into the world of work. So in the UK, the issue is huge for us as well. So if you look at our youth unemployment rates, when I started this programme, they were around 1 million young people unemployed. And this figure is still very high, but it is decreasing, but it's still incredibly high for the UK. So if you look at the ratio of adult unemployment and youth unemployment, it's actually a big issue for us, a long-term issue. So structurally, for us in the UK, the ratio of adults being unemployed to young people is higher since 1997 in the UK than anywhere else in the G7 and EU. A very scary statistic. So, as Jay said, 3 times as many young people are unemployed, but actually in the UK it's 4 times as many young people are unemployed as 25 plus, which is a big issue for Barclays. So why do we care about this so much as a big company? Well, firstly, there's a big mismatch between Mohammed, we're here, and his academic results, and actually the skills that we need in the modern workforce. And the skills that we're talking about are really simple skills. So there's skills like soft skills that we're seeing. So soft skills for us are things any around communication, listening, teamwork, and those aren't being produced from the school environment currently, but they're critical to the future of our workforce. So again, from Barclays' point of view, why do we care about this? Well, the reason it's such a big issue is because in the UK, businesses aren't recruiting young people. And the reason they're not recruiting young people is because they don't feel they're work ready. They're not leaving work prepared at all for the workforce. And it matters to Barclays because they're our future economy for us, and they're our future workforce. So as the economy improves, we need to have a talented workforce that we can employ from. And thinking back to soft skills, so soft skills is a huge issue. So there's issues around teamwork, communication skills, listening skills. In the UK, soft skills are estimated to be worth £88 billion. In just 5 years' time, that will go up to £109 billion. And teachers, so we have an issue in the UK where careers guidance has been removed from schools. So young people aren't getting employability sessions, they're not getting the careers advice they need. And it's difficult for teachers who are already overburdened to find the time to run employability sessions for young people. They already have a lot to do. And there's a real mismatch that we see and discrepancy between the willingness of teachers who really want to do this and the ability they have to find the time in the school curriculum. And young people. So young people say they want to hear from companies about what we're looking for. They want to hear from big employers. Young people themselves lack confidence. They don't have future career plans as well. And all the research from CBI and McKinsey, so they don't understand where the job openings are in the future and where the increased wages will be for them in the future either. So in the context of the UK, why is this important? So if we look at the schools, so we have a very disparate market in the UK. So we have 5,000 UK schools. In addition, we have 500 FE colleges and sixth form colleges as well. And for us, really, what's really important here is a max of people here. So we have a number of academies who are running their own curriculum. And then we have the most majority in local authorities. And these are the people who don't have the space to run the employability sessions. If we also look and take about Mohammed and what he found with his school in Grangetown and Bradford, is there wasn't any careers advice, there wasn't any work experience, there wasn't any lessons around employability, around how to get himself into work when he left school. And if you look at this postcode here, this is a map of all the different careers provision in the UK, and it shows a real mismatch of those skills that you need. So careers provision in the UK is very disparate. It's a postcode lottery as to whether you get the support or not, and that's fueling this issue of youth unemployment for us. And what's the role of Barclays? So the role of Barclays really is for us to be, as a global bank, is to really help equip young people with those skills. And young people said they wanted a program from business to come in and help schools with this issue. We also have got a workforce of 130,000, so how can we utilise our workforce to go into schools and help this? And in the UK, we have a good geographic spread and also technology spread as well. And we also experienced firsthand the difficulties we had of integrating young people into our workforce. We ran our apprenticeship program. We now have 2,000 apprentices, and really from their point of view, they weren't work ready. So our line managers were saying they would turn up for one day, you wouldn't see them again for a few days, or they'd turn up late. And the issue really around that was that they weren't prepared in the school environment to be work ready. And we believe that's an issue for us at Barclays, and one we should be working hand in hand with education, not separately. So with this in mind, this is how we created the programme. So we realised there was a big issue here. There's lots of work being done in the UK to tackle youth unemployment at a later stage, but there isn't so much work being done to prevent young people becoming NEET in the first place. And we know from research that even simple employability interventions, such as school speakers, such as career workshops, such as work experience, can really improve the outcomes of a young person, which is really important for us. So you need 4 times of interactions within a school environment, the less likely they are, 5 times less likely to become NEET, which is really key. So we built together the programme which has got people, work and money skills. So people is really about those skills that young people are missing from the workforce, why businesses say they won't recruit young people, so how you behave in a workplace environment. Work skills is about preparing them for work, whether that's going into an office environment or becoming an entrepreneur, and also safeguarding yourself online, which is a huge issue as well. And money skills, as you'd expect from a bank, we do run money skills, but that's really geared to the workforce as well. And so with that, we created a program working hand in hand with teachers. So the program is free to all teachers and is curriculum linked in the UK. We wanted to make the program accessible to every single child in the UK. Going back to the postcode lottery of where careers advice is, we wanted to make sure every single child would have access to this in the UK, aged between 11 to 19. So we created lesson plans and workshops working hand in hand with teachers. And in addition, if teachers want, they can request a Barclays volunteer to go in and run a workshop. And that could be on the CV building a young person's confidence. In addition to that, we created a website because we know not every school would take part, so we wanted to make sure young people had access to that as well. So we created that website, and that enables teachers to go on, log on, and also view all the lesson plans and workshops. And they can pick and choose what's most relevant to their students, because we recognise that every class is so different for young people. In addition to that, we're trying to open up work experience. So we see work experience being crucial to raise aspirations of young people, to give them that insight into the world of work. There are no Saturday jobs in the UK anymore, no part-time work, very little part-time work for young people, so they don't get any experience of that real world, and that's really what we're trying to do. So we've created 16,000 work experience placements for young people, and we're working with other companies to offer work experience as well. So we help get young people prepared within a school environment, and then they go out to their work experience as well. Sorry, I don't know what I did there. So, and then also the other thing that really struck me on this is that the number of companies who are in this space and organisations, and really, as I was building the programme, I thought we can't do this alone, we need to collaborate. So we worked really carefully with other businesses and organisations who are passionate about preparing young people, and as Winnie said, that bridge between education and the world of work. So we invited these people to come in and talk and share their views in the programme as I built it, and they formed a Life Skills Advisory Council who advised me on the content of the programme going forward. So we launched a programme. We had this huge ambitious goal to reach 1 million young people by the end of this year, and I'm delighted that I've already reached 1.2 million. 1.2 million young people have participated in the Life Skills programme, have been out to a volunteer workshop, have gone on work experience, and most crucially for us, the scale is important, and so we can reach every young person, but actually there's no point in running a programme if it has absolutely no impact on young people whatsoever. And 87% of young people who've gone through the Life Skills programme have increased their confidence. 82% of young people have a better idea about what sector and career they want to go into. And 75% have now got a five-year long-term plan, which is amazing. We're in around 63% of secondary schools, which we've achieved in 18 months, which we're really, really proud of. Our advertising and marketing puts young people right at the heart of the programme, which we're really, really, really proud of. So I'll just show you a quick advert here to show the programme.
My name is start with an Mike, sometimes with and sometimes with R, but mostly If your name starts with an in the interview, here's what you're saying. I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I don't have a clue. Lose the Hi, I'm Michael. If you know an Irma, tell them about the Life Skills.
So a very simple ad. We had 6 of these, and Michael was one of the 6 young people we took through the ads. And he spent a whole weekend of life skills training, and that was what he learnt from it. So we wanted to use our advertising and market to reach as many teachers as possible and as many young people so they feel truly inspired by the programme. And you may laugh, these things seem really simple. We do things around body language, eye contact, what to wear in a workplace environment. But actually for young people, it's crucial. There is nobody out there giving them this advice. They're not getting it in schools all the time. So moving on about how we can help young people develop their skills. So what we hear from teachers is teachers like businesses coming into schools because it helps them give them a sense of the real world. They like the people from Barclays coming in their suits or their branch uniforms to talk to them about what it's like to work in the real world. They feel inspired by that. They listen more. They sit up and take notice. And teachers themselves, they want the support as well. They want their links with businesses. So we found that teachers, when we researched them, are really interested in businesses offering work experience, work placements, and volunteers coming in, rather than the traditional careers fairs that businesses tend to get involved with as well. And there's a real issue for teachers around finding the space in the curriculum to do so. And one of the things that we're really keen to work with the government on is how can we look at long-term tracking. So we have destinations data in the UK, but that's only for a year after the young person's left school. So really for us it's about how can we have a 3-year plan around the long-term tracking of the individual to show what impact employability interventions have on a young person's outcome in the future. And parents is a really big issue. So responsibility of parents as well, working hand in hand with teachers and young people. We have 6.8 million parents in the UK, and they are working with 11 to 19-year-old students. They will have 11 to 19-year-olds. They have a real issue around providing careers advice. They don't know where to turn to. There's no advice, there's very disparate advice on the internet, and they need some guidance. And we believe that by working the programme hand in hand with parents, teachers and young people, this will really help to achieve that. And businesses, again, there's so many businesses in this space. There's hundreds of companies every year in the UK introduce new programmes, adding to the thousands that are out there already. And it's really important that people collaborate in this space and that people understand the importance of offering simple things like work experience. And one of my big passions is to try and get every business to understand the value of offering work experience, even only for a day for a young person. And also businesses themselves need to have a better understanding of the education market. They need to understand what teachers are looking for and work hand in hand with education rather than telling teachers what they think they need to know. And colleagues, so our colleagues who've gone into the branch environment have felt incredibly passionate about this. From a colleague perspective, it's really built warmth within our company. Our colleagues like going out there speaking and giving their real-world skills to young people. And it's also increased their confidence getting up in front of a class of 30 of 16-year-olds, and their confidence also in coaching young people in small work as well. So what we found through running the program is that young people really want small group work. So when it comes to employability, when people come in and talk to them with a mentor, they want to do that in a small environment. They want it to be far more interactive as well. And crucially for us, we found the mix of online and face-to-face was absolutely really relevant. So you cannot do this all online. We created a website where young people can go off at their own time and work through it. Teachers can have access to it, but they still need that face-to-face. And the face-to-face the teachers felt for them was better when it came from an employer. It was someone different to the teacher, and the research shows. So there's always more that we can do. So in terms of if you look at soft skills, so if we look around how many young businesses we're speaking to, so all the businesses that we speak to, so only 4% of them valued academic qualifications such as maths. Over half of them valued soft skills, and that's what businesses are looking for. 97% of businesses say that soft skills are vital to their current success of their business, which is a huge number. So it's really important that young people are both getting the soft skills they need. What more can be done? So we believe in this space, because there are so many programs out there, that we do definitely need some form of quality mark for young people. So the quality mark, so young people know it's a good quality program, but it's also recognised by businesses. So our apprentices that we recruit in the UK don't come in with the GCSE results. They come in on aptitude and attitude. And what we want to do is make sure the program's developed, it's endorsed by a recognised body such as City and Guilds, that when young people go to their interviews, if they haven't got the right GCSE results, at least they can show they really want to go into the world of work and they're really committed to doing it as well. We believe that quality standard needs to be there for all employer programs that are out there, because unfortunately at the moment in the UK, there's this mismatch between actually paying for a program. Teachers perceive that if you pay for a program, it's better quality. They don't look at the impact on the individual, and that's really key to the success of this. There's no point in paying for a program if it's going to have absolutely no impact. And plus the fact there are so many willing employers out there who want to do this for free, working with young people, who want to really improve tomorrow's workforce. Again, I talked about this issue of work experience. 92% of companies really value work experience when they look for a young person when they leave school. But only 38% of businesses in the UK offer work experience. And work experience can be anything from, we found even a day in an organisation can massively raise the inspiration of young people. We work with a college quite close to us, and they did their work experience in year 10, and what they found is a huge improvement in their GCSE results as a result of having that employability invention early on, because the young people didn't feel they could actually go to work in an environment like Canary Wharf, even though they only lived about 5-10 miles away from our building. But by coming into the building, they felt they were able to do so. And in the UK, this is an issue because 1 in 8 of UK young people live in work-class households. They have no role models, so it's important they get that role modelling from somewhere, and it's important they get their idea of the world of work. So for us, it's about improving those skills for young people. So what are the future skills that young people are going to need? So tomorrow's workforce is going to look very, very different than it is now. So those 11-year-olds that we're reaching, how can we really prepare them for the world of work? How can we really make a difference when they leave school? And the things that we're looking at now are problem solving, computational thinking, digital skills. How can we get them really work ready? And in a workforce that's going to be much more global and short-term contracts, how can we get young people to be truly resilient is going to be really important going forward. And we're looking at how we can build that through now. So I talked to you a little bit about Mohammed, so Mohammed and his journey around. And what I want to end up is just show you the change that the Life Skills Programme had on Mohammed. So Mohammed, 16-year-old from Bradford, and this is Mohammed now, 18 years old.
I'm honoured to have the opportunity to speak to you about a programme that has changed my life for the better and could also change yours. I'm speaking about the Life Skills Programme, which has been created by Barclays and provides young people like you and me with necessary skills that will help you get ready for working life. I was introduced to life skills at a school assembly and was immediately motivated to get involved. It teaches self-confidence, how to best use your time, planning for your financial future, and how to go about getting that perfect job. After completing the life skills modules online, I felt more confident and I had improved my communication skills. Now, I feel even more comfortable speaking with fellow students, teachers, and now with all of you at We Day. I'd like to share with you a few skills in particular that I learned. The first is interpersonal skills. Learning how to interact with other people in the workplace and participate effectively in a team. The second is confidence skills. This program taught me how to face my fears and how to trust myself in challenging situations. And the third is understanding work culture. I learned the importance of building good relationships in a working environment.
So that was Mohammed, 16-year-old from Bradford, now 18, speaking at Wembley in front of 10,000 young people. So Mohammed, that very shy boy who wouldn't raise his hand in school, 2 years later was doing this. And I'm even more proud to say that Mohammed's just been accepted at the London School of Economics and will start in autumn, which shows a massive impact it's had. So I'm so proud of Mohammed, and there's so many more young people that we're proud of as well at Barclays that we've helped. And that just shows you one insight, but really shows the importance and the role that we as business have to play working with the education system to get young people work ready, the importance of soft skills, the importance of understanding how you operate in a workplace environment. So it's our role as Barclays, I believe, to do that and many other companies. At the end of the day, these young people are future workforce and our future economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kirsty. It was very insightful. I was quite surprised that children these days still lack that communication aspect and teamwork. And it's amazing the importance that you put on collaboration with teachers, parents, and businesses to achieve your goal. On to our last speaker today, Mr. Mithun Kamath, CEO of ARC. Mithun has more than 17 years of experience in the skills development for the private, public, and government sectors across 22 countries in South Asia and Africa. Create and implement large-scale solutions for issues ranging from increasing employee productivity to youth employability. Winner of various awards and speaker at a number of international forums. Mithun.
Thank you so much, Jay. Well, I have decided to approach this topic from my own personal experience. As I can imagine, each and every one of you are here because of a set of skills that you've acquired over your lifetimes. So I'll take you through a bit of my own experience, and I'd like you to relate it to your own lives. Well, early on in school, I was pretty bad in mathematics and science. I mean, I remember in matriculation, in spite of working very hard, in spite of taking additional tuitions, I still just managed to clear my mathematics exam. And my father just gave up on me. He didn't expect much from me after that. And so I took humanities, the arts. And I had a point to prove after that, and I worked very, very hard in my arts through my university. And in my final year of graduation, I sort of topped my class, got a high rank in the university. And I was feeling good about myself at that stage. I thought I had made up for what I had lost earlier on. And at that point in time, the big craze was about joining an MBA school and joining management. And in the naivety of those times, I thought I had good leadership skills because I was a captain of my school team, which did pretty well. So I thought I had naturally inborn leadership skills. So why not go for an MBA, course and join the corporate sector? But then I realized that there are a few hurdles to joining an MBA school. You first had to go through an entrance exam. After that, you have to go through a group discussion, and then there's a personal interview. I had never heard of a group discussion till then. I hadn't ever given an interview till then, but then I thought the entrance test I should be able to clear pretty easily. After all, I did extremely well in university. I thought that should be natural. So I landed up without any preparation for the test. And you can imagine the shock. I had to just walk out after 5 minutes after getting my paper, because what the paper asked me was, it had data interpretation skills, for example. Okay, they had given a set of data, and there's a set of questions at the end of it, which you had to answer. And then there were essays, 1.5-page essays, which you had to read and answer 5 questions at the end. All I was used to till then was to write long essays. And suddenly I had to read and answer questions in about 2 minutes or so. The questions on mathematics were applied, real life questions. How do you apply mathematics to real life? And I couldn't answer any of those questions. There was those logical questions, you see a set of patterns and then guess which is the next pattern, those kind of questions. I was simply not trained for those kind of things. And I had to leave after 5 minutes. And it was pretty humiliating, an experience, that after so much of education, I'm still not able to answer. So I joined a training school, which taught me those skills. And then I attempted the exam again. Then I joined an MBA institute, cleared my management, and I was picked out of campus. And on the first day of my job, I was asked to go and sell. Now remember, in management, I had gone through 42 subjects over 2 years. I thought I had learned everything. I'm 18 years of working. I had done well. I was, and then on the first day of my job, my manager said, now, this is the product, go out and sell it. And for the next 1 year, this is exactly what you're going to do. This is your management training. And I had never sold. Neither was I trained how to sell. And it was pretty shocking again, because my peer group in that organization were not from MBA. So they were paid a little lesser than me, and I was the higher form of life. So I was, slightly paid higher, and I couldn't do it. And it was again extremely embarrassing. Nevertheless, I got through that as well. I learned it by trial and error, and after a few years, I was promoted as a supervisor. And I had a team which started reporting to me. And I did what I was used to. I thought I have now become the big guy in the room, and I do what my manager used to do: push people around, give them impossible targets, those kind of things. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. I had a team of 4 people. I pushed them around. Became very harsh and all of that. I used to conduct almost 2 reviews every day. And year down the line, 50% of them quit. 2 of them quit the team. And I thought that it was their mistake. I was trying to teach you something, and you are simply not learning. Well, my manager obviously disagreed. He said it is a problem with you. And that was again a big shock. I thought, okay, there's something that I missed. And then again, I started learning those skills about how to manage and lead people. And a few years on from there, I was asked to head the international business group of my organization. And I had to build a business in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Middle East, and Africa. And again, I had no idea how to operate in a multicultural environment, how to relate to different people, how to approach a new market. I had no such skills. And as you can imagine, after a few bruises and lots of stress, I managed to learn many of those things. So I'm sure some of what I'm saying you could also relate to your own lives. Many of the skills that we pick up, at least in my case, are through trial and error and through lots of bruises. So and this has been my learning from my own personal experience. That first, that skills cannot be the process of learning skills cannot be attributed to a particular stage of life. It's constant. I'm sure there's quite a bit that I've learned, and quite a lot that I still have to learn. The second one is that percentages don't mean anything. As I just shared with you, I did very well in my MBA, I did very well in my university, but that didn't mean anything. So somewhere, how we evaluate ourselves or what metrics we use to evaluate our own skills, okay, there's a disconnect there. And the third one is that education is not limited to school or university. It's unfair to expect our schools or universities to deliver all our skills. There's a lot of learning that happens once you exit your system. And therefore, the environment where you work and generally outside have to own skills education. So having learned this, I also looked at how the labor market has evolved over a period of time. I was having this chat with my daughter, and she's at that stage where she's looking to pick a career for herself. And she was having a chat with me about what vocations she can pick. And I told her that, look, in my industry, there is a good job called an instructional designer that you can become, because she's very creative, she's good at writing. She hadn't even heard of it. She said, what does that mean? Okay. So, and then I just started asking her, can you tell me the vocations that you know, or the careers that you know? And she couldn't name more than 7 or 8 vocations that she could, and all from hearsay. So there's hardly any vocations that children understand these days who are supposedly picking up a career for themselves. And when you look at the labor market and how it has evolved, occupations are constantly evolving. What we used to do 10 years back in a particular occupation is very different. Even in selling, it's very different these days. The labor market is also global. We are not competing with another local company. It's very, very meshed together. Therefore, the kind of skills that are required with people are of that nature. You should be able to understand how to operate in various markets. And there is constant innovation in the labor market. I mean, as you know, technology changes so fast that you can hardly catch up with it. I have been on Twitter for quite some time, but my daughter has more followers on Twitter than me. So, so that's the pace at which it is innovating. And it is extremely intensely competitive. The skills are the competitive edge. Any CEO you talk to today will say that the skills of my people are my competitive edge. And that's where I can make a big difference. So this is where the paradigm is. I'm not trying to, when you look at the table there, I'm not attempting to categorize skills. But if you see, these are the type of skills, or most of them, I have had to learn over the course of my career so far. So after basics, then there are technology-related skills. Computers, for example, was very important in my career. And early on, I didn't learn it in school, but I had to join a separate course in a separate institution to learn computers. I haven't learned electricity or carpentry, but I miss those skills. My wife keeps teasing me that you can hardly drive a nail in a wall. How do you manage a company? So it's really embarrassing when you can't do certain basic things like that. And then there are supervisory skills, managerial skills, and leadership skills. And I've had to learn many of these. And without these skills, survival these days is extremely difficult. And most of these skills, if you put it in a pyramidal fashion, like the way I've done, you can easily relate it to how a corporate pyramid works. There are a certain set of skills which are required at the artisan level, and so on and so forth. And they're very closely interrelated. So the point I'm trying to make is, again, that you cannot look at skills from just a narrow point of view. They exist throughout your life. And our education system, or the way we expect to deliver skills, have to take this in cognizance. Now let's look at our education system. When I had to learn all of these skills, there was general education which I did. My computer skills I learned in a different institute. For my management education entrance exam, I went to a different institute. So it's very disjointed, the kind of skills that you require, or the delivery of it today is extremely disjointed. And I think this is the space that needs to be corrected. Skills delivery has to match up with what is required in what I have put in the table there. So and as I said earlier, we cannot put this onus entirely on universities and schools. They can teach, they can build a foundation, while private sector has to play a very critical role in delivery of skills. And according to me, if you look at basic, sorry. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that. So if you look at basic technology and supervisory skills, I think that is very, very important. The foundation of that has to be laid in the basic schooling system. As I'm sure all of you recognize, technology skills, for example, are hardly taught in schools. There's a huge orientation towards theoretical training. We do even training like entrepreneurship and those kind of things, but what you require is to be able to use your hands and your feet to be able to think and do stuff. So that is very important at the school level. So the basic technology and supervisory skills are very critical as you go through education. While managerial and leadership are not something that can be only theoretically taught. You have to learn that a lot through experience and through practical application. And that is where corporates have to play their role. There are many big companies, at least in my own personal experience, I've seen only big companies do that. They establish their own management academies and actively look at building these skills. But I think this has to be something that has to be ingrained in almost all organizations, that skills will not be ready-made. There has to be an effort taken by every organization, irrespective of size, to build particularly managerial and leadership skills. So, what is the role of the private sector? Of course, participate in curricular development across the value chain. I think that's very critical. The second is offer internships so that people get real-life applications. And the third is also do it themselves, particularly in the managerial and leadership supervisory style. So that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your story, Mithun, and I like the way how you framed that skills delivery must be linked to the continuous education of a child, and I think that's very important. We do have 10 minutes, and I think I would like to open up to the floor. Please state your name, where you're from, and the person the question is directed to, and the gentleman in the front.
Very good afternoon. My name's Charanjit Randhawa, Chief Executive of a company in the UK. Very, very positive about what Kirsty was talking about, the Life Skills Initiative, helping our kids back into work. But basically, how do we work in partnership with corporations to get the right life skills? Because we're dealing with the fallout where Barclays are not dealing with the face-to-face interaction, and the teachers are not able to understand the curriculum within your subject matter. I'll give you an example on the CVs, where kids are coming out, they're writing the CV in the first person and not getting the proper structured document that employers actually want. Yeah. We've been dealing with Barclays where we're trying to get the right tool in place and invested £1 million into creating a tool that creates a CV in 5 minutes to help our kids. And we're helping thousands of our kids in the UK, but we've had absolutely no interaction. So if you're talking about using best-of-breed tools to help our kids, we should be working together and not...
Sure. And we do really work well with other companies and organisations to do that in a number of different ways. So CVs are just one thing and that we can really help with young people. But I think for me, what's the biggest issue for young people at the moment is getting them to understand what skills they have and how they translate into a workplace environment. And we do a CV workshop as well, and that's just one element of over 50 hours of content that we have with the programme. But young people can't write their CVs until they actually know what skills they have, and if they have the confidence to do that, So the very first part of the program, People Skills, is really about young people getting to understand what they have and what future employers are looking for and what skills they might be able to put into their CV. So that's the very first stage of the program, and we're happy to talk to you afterwards about it.
Okay, look forward to that.
Any questions? The gentleman in the front here.
Thank you. Salim Edde, I work for SAP software company. So the question to the panelists is, Ms. McKay, you probably are there already, but how to scale, really? I mean, you seem to have a very nice boutique, Mrs. Imanyara, setup going on. Ms. McKay, you scaled to 1 million. That's really impressive. The next challenge would be how to maintain the quality and how to go to the next step, really. And Mr. Kamath, Skills for Life, I'm sure you must, in South Africa, you must have a scaling problem. So the question is how to scale, how have you scaled, and how you envisage to scale while maintaining the quality?
Who would like to take that first?
Let me take it, but also probably start a little bit on the, remember the involvement, although it was directed to Barclays. But then one of the things we've done is, you can't go alone, of course, is to sign an MOU with the government, first of all, Ministry of Education, and then involve the players. Because we are not, we as a bank or a foundation, we are a facilitator, we are a catalyst, we are in between. So you've got to bring this side and the other side to speak, and then you come up with a curriculum together. Because then I go to the question of scaling, is the same one. You know the old adage that says what? If you want to go very fast, you walk alone. If you want to go very far, you walk with others. The scaling, what we've done in Kenya is, yes, sign an MOU with the government. And because we are private sector, the government has given us 2 officers, one from the Deputy President's office, one from the Minister for Education office, to work with us and show us the policy side. Because we operate in a regulated environment, there are things that private sector can do for our benefit because we look at the bottom line. But since you're within a government and a policy, you need to understand the policy side. And then on this other side, we brought up not just the bank, I also come from a bank, not just the financial institutions, but bring the industries, the construction, agriculture, health, and so on. And therefore, we formed a consortium, a small, even the donor fraternity, the foreign missions, because Kenya is the center for United Nations in Africa, and therefore we are cosmopolitan. So yeah, you bring all those together with the schools, the institutions. That's the only way you can scale. And by the way, the technique that is used in the capital city will not be the technique that is used at the coastal city, like where my brother comes from. You've got to be aware of cultural differences. There are some things you cannot teach. Southern Sudan, you cannot teach their women how to be masons. It's just cultural. So we've got to respect that, and that's the way then you develop an emotional connection with the communities, and the communities actually are the ones who help you to scale. I hope I've answered a little bit.
Mithun, please.
We believe it's very important to incorporate skills in mainstream education. We very firmly believe that because there's already kids, a captive audience of kids who are going through the education system. And without doing those changes, you continue to add to a big problem which already exists. Lots of certified kids out there who don't have necessary skills to get employed. So by doing the same thing more and more, you're just adding to a problem. So the best way to deal with scale for us is to go back to school, look at the curriculum, make the relevant changes there. And we're very glad that these days governments are very open. At least in a couple of countries in Africa, we've received tremendous support on this. We're in fact implementing 2 of those as we speak right now. We have made substantial changes at the 10th, 11th, and 12th standard. We've looked at what the labor market wants. We've involved them. They have given us the kind of occupations that are required, and we've incorporated that into school's curriculum, and we have started deploying that. So, but fundamentally, that's our belief, that you have to, that's how you will achieve quick scale massively.
Kirsty, is there anything you want to add to
And
that?
for us, yes, we've achieved the scale that we wanted to, and we still will continue to do that. But actually, as I said, the most important thing is the impact for us. So it's continuing measuring the impact. What impact is it having on a young person's confidence? What impact is it having in terms of their career plan, in terms of the sectors they want to work in? There's no point in having a scalable program if it's going to have no impact on young people whatsoever. And so that's really crucial for us. And now what we're looking for is the skills that young people are going to need. Those 11-year-olds we're speaking to in schools, what skills do they need when they leave school at 18, and how we can really help them develop those skills whilst in school, working hand in hand with teachers. And I think how we've achieved that scale is the program was delivered and worked up hand in hand with teachers. So we didn't come up with it at Barclays and say, here we go, schools, off you run. We actually worked with teachers. They wrote the content for us, and an independent panel of teachers review everything we do. We've also had all of our work endorsed by the City and Guilds, so from a business point of view, they can recognise that it's a quality programme as well. So we're absolutely maintaining the quality, but we really found a gap in the market for young people having this employability intervention at school, and the role that Barclays could play using our geographical nature and also the volume of staff we have in the UK.
Thank you. One last question before we run to a close. Gentleman in the front here.
Malih Liaman, CEO and founder of Young Leaders Development Program. Just want to give you just an example how we approach things in young leaders. And maybe this can be base for school to do things. Now, we tell our young leaders that you don't have to start from the bottom when you graduate. If you start early enough to do things, then you can start from a place where you deserve to start. So we get them engaged in very early stage, grade 8, 9, in community doing things. And we have an incentive for them to get credit and other things. So what we do by the time they, even before joining the university, when they finish the university, they have impressive CV actually. When they present it to the employer, this is a soft skill like managing. First we start self-awareness, then self-management. They manage their time, their resources. Then they go a little bit further out of their comfort zone, start connecting with community and so on and so forth. And then they find themselves, they're not looking for a job, actually a job looking for them. And this can be duplicated through schools, and just it takes initiative, it takes people to follow up, and then they can get them really down and do things instead of just reading, doing math. And so this is important, but I think there is more things important than just doing math and science and reading. Sure. And so on. So thank you very much.
Anyone like to comment, last comment on that? No. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Could I have another round of applause for the panelists, please?